Now, in 1988, Rev Jesse Jackson convinced America's black population to adopt the term African American. But for 30 years, this has stuck in the black society in America. But in recent times, there has been push by black communities in the US to drop the African and just go back to black.
I'm tired of being labeled. I'm an American. I'm not an African American. I'm an American.
Oh, girl, don't set up the Twitter on fire.
I'm sorry. I mean,
what?
I'm sorry.
Lord. What did you just say? Stop the tape right now. Okay.
I will say this.
What?
I mean, I don't know where my roots go to. I don't know how far back they go. I can't go on, I don't know how far back, and I don't know what country in Africa I'm from. But I do know that my roots are in Louisiana. I'm an American. And that's a colorless person, because we're all people. I have lots of things running through my veins.
I mean, you're going to get a lot of flack for saying you're not African American. You know that, right?
Now, the distinction between black and African American has become a prominent conversation on social media, and considering we now live in a world where people are very sensitive to labels, it's easy to come off as offensive by not appropriately addressing an individual with the right term. Now, there's always this kind of slight hesitation, and it can be from, there's a teacher, a coach, or even a friend or an acquaintance who are always unsure which term is appropriate. But a significant amount of black or African Americans reject, or if you like, even despise to be called African in American society. And in this video, we will dissect the reason. So watch this.
You have said that you resent the idea of being called an African American, that
Yes.
you are a black American.
Yes.
Explain.
I think that when they call black people who were born and raised for generations in this country, if you accept the handle of African American, that says that you don't accept being an American American. You don't accept being born in Chicago or New York or Detroit or wherever you were born. For generations, your family has been here, built this country too. Sweat and tears and all that, fought in every war, okay? So this is my country here. So I don't want to be called African American. I'm an American American. My people have died and done everything for this country.
In American history, black people were likely direct descendants of enslaved Africans, so the adoption of the term African American was a deliberate move from black communities in America to signify their African heritage. Now, you will also agree with me that modern America is now home to millions of immigrants who were born in America. Now, having split this kind of identities between Africa and the United States, they speak different native African languages and train their kids to speak or at least understand their parents' native, tongue or language, so they do not lose who they are as Africans. But on the other hand, living descendants of slaves in America neither knew their African ancestors nor even have elder relatives who knew them. Now, I live in Ghana, and I'm sure most people who live in different parts of Africa will agree with me that most Africans don't have much in common with the black people in the United States. And this is why the number of African immigrants tripling each year in the US, the use of African American is considerably being strained. But Dr. Omar Johnson also shared his opinion on this subject, so let me know if you agree with his assertion.
A lot of black Americans still to this day carry their previous slave owners.
Don't say black American, say American African.
American African.
Yes, sir.
You do know that a lot of African Americans don't like that term.
Well, they use African American. We're comfortable with African American.
Yeah.
But I prefer American African.
Okay.
Because we are not Americans, never have never been treated as such.
Yeah.
And the adjective precedes the noun. So when you say African American, you're describing a type of an American.
Okay.
We're not Americans. When you say American African, you're describing a type of an African. So that's why we say American African. American simply describes the African.
Yeah.
Versus African describing the American. We are Africans in an American context.
Now, moving on, I think the push by Rev Jesse Jackson for blacks to adopt the term African American caught fire real quick and worked because blacks in America needed to take a stand to protest for civil rights and echo a reminder that their ancestors were brought to America against their will. Now, racial identity is very personal. We shouldn't generalize everything. These days, you can't see a person and just conclude they are male or female because even gender has become a choice. Racial identity has now become personal, and the language we use to refer to a person's race is a reflection of that. So people prefer the term black because they do not identify as African or American, or they cannot trace their lineage back to Africa. So some people still identify as Black and African American and use the terms interchangeably by choice or depending on certain situations.
What I really mean by that is I'm an American. That's what I really mean. I have darker skin. I have a nice, interesting grade of hair. I connect with Caucasian. I connect with Asian. I connect with Black. I connect with Indian. I connect with each culture.
Now, I will say always to default to Black if you are unsure and switch to African American or whatever term the person asks you to use. People identify as African, Afro-Caribbean, Afro-Latino, and many more races and ethnicities. So for me, language is a powerful part of people's identity. So try to remember to ask what term people prefer. It is that simple. My name is Your Heritage. Like and subscribe. I'm out.